Um, will you try? You want to do the whole opening again today? You feel up to it? Start. That's
Every day we're born again to create this world we live in. So now let's claim our good and speak our
okay.
word and release it to the
Okay.
universe. Right here is where we take a
I
stand.
mean, everybody's ready, but I'm
Take compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. All together hand in hand. It's a new sing our love across the land. Here we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. Every day I'm filled with wonder by the glory of the silent thunder unfolding from down under. Satchitananda. Oh, right here is where we take a stand. It's a new day. Compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. All together hand in hand. It's a new thing I love across the land. Right here we're making a
Thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. Oh, grateful. I'm so grateful. So I want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Now thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything
Test,
I
1, 2.
need. Joy. Joy
Is mic
is
on?
my source.
I think this mic's on.
Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings.
Good morning, everybody. We come together this morning in love. Welcome, everybody, to Unity of Metairie.
All right, stand up.
Take a
Look at the person next to you.
Say God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. And lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Welcome, everybody. It's an awesome, awesome day here in Metairie. We're here to celebrate the divine presence in each other. Here we go.
Now look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life. Every walk of life. Every creed and color. Every creed and color. In kinship we unite.
In kinship we unite.
In honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you.
Get ready.
Say namaste, I bow to you.
Come on now.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
All right, y'all, let's take a moment and say hello to your spiritual family with some hugs, some handshakes. Give some love, y'all. That's right. last handshake. All right, y'all. All right, y'all.
Well, good morning and welcome to Unity of Metairie. My name is Shelley, and our service today will be led by our spiritual director, Jack Fowler.
Woohoo! Welcome, everybody.
And as you know, Jack's been providing the musical inspiration and spiritual inspiration here for a very long time. I'd like to welcome those people that are watching us today on Facebook. Good morning. And if you would like to contribute to our spiritual community, you'll see a post under the post that you're watching. It says donate. And you can also visit our website, which is, now you can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Which is unityofmetairie.com. So we're glad that you're with us today. I'd like to ask if there are any visitors that are here for the first time visiting our center. Okay. Well, it's good to have everybody here. And I'd also like to ask the children to come up. Do we have any children with us today?
Anybody just feeling childlike? Yes, come on up. Come
Here
on
we
up.
go.
All right, come on, let's go. Okay, we can bless them.
Let's give them
I
a
want to
blessing.
get over there and play.
There you go. There you go. Let's start a blessing.
Children of light, we bless you. We see you loved, guided, and protected by God's presence. And New Orleans style, y'all, we love you hard, hard, hard. We swear to God. All right, y'all. Yay, yay. Good morning, everybody. Oh, God is calling just in time. Hello, God is here. So welcome, everybody. I sure missed you last week. I was away doing some work with Unity of Huntsville. Had a wonderful time with those folks, but I sure missed you guys. Right at 10:30, I thought of you, and I'm so glad to be home. I'll tell you a little bit about my adventures of freezing my tail off later, but I'm just glad to be back home with my spiritual family. So welcome, everybody. And go ahead and silence your cell phone or anything else that might make a noise as we create a sacred space together, beginning our service by listening to these thoughts from the Word.
Today's daily word for Sunday, February 3rd, 2019, is harmony. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding bring harmony to my world. When I reflect on the various relationships in my life, what feelings come to mind and heart? Do I feel the joy of kinship with family members, of shared experiences and accomplishments with coworkers? What I bring to each relationship determines my experience and may even influence the experience of others. Even if there is friction or tension, I choose not to respond to any negative or insensitive comments. Instead, I view every relationship, every situation, through the lens of my being a living expression of God. I am a harmonizing presence as I let God be God in me. I affirm divine love, wisdom, and understanding bring harmony to my world. Today's scripture is Micah 6:8. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God?
All right, just beautiful words, a reminder that this morning we are exactly where we need to be. So let's all just relax in knowing that and begin to let go of anything that's maybe bothering you, maybe anything that's exciting you, and just become present here in this moment, knowing that everything that you need is within you. All the wisdom that you need, all the healing that you need, all the wholeness that you need is already there. So this morning, our intention is to open up and accept what is already ours as beautiful expressions of God. So I invite you just to relax into this moment, knowing that this group of people in this space and this time will never, ever happen like this again. This is a holy encounter. We have been brought together here by Spirit, the magnificent force of love that binds us together. We are here for a holy, beautiful purpose. So allow yourself and give yourself permission just to be here now. Becoming still, knowing that right here, right now, is everything that you need. Right here, right now, we have come into the presence of God, and our hearts are open to the love that's found right here, right now, right here, right now. We have come into the presence of God, and our hearts are open to the love that's found right here, right now. And our hearts are open, and our hearts are open to the love that's found right here, right now. Also this morning, we have a candle here in the front that we call our Christ candle. It is the representation of the one life that is within each and every one of us. Sometimes we call this the Christ presence. Sometimes we call this Spirit. Whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. It's all the same because there is only one power, one presence, one life. And you are part of this tapestry that is life. This candle represents this magnificent presence that's within each and every one of us. We came into this world with it. We don't have to do anything to deserve it. You can't be any more beautiful and holy than you are right now. So we open our hearts to accept this truth, knowing that we are created in the image and likeness of God. Today, we continue with a series on the principles of unity. So we're actually going to do our meditation at the end of the talk, because today the talk is about meditation and stillness. So we can still just take a moment, just breathing in and becoming still, ready to receive, open, continuing to let go of anything that's there, crowding your mind. As best you can, allow yourself to just unwind and become still in this moment and silent, with an open heart and an open mind, ready to hear. And so for this time together, we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Amen. So good morning, everybody. Everybody was getting all ready. I threw you off a little bit. So you got to change things up every now and then to keep things fresh and new. We had what was called a strategic planning meeting yesterday, which is a fancified word. The new board got together, and I'm so about the new board and what we are going to be doing. Wow, they came up with some great ideas, and we'll be sharing some of that with you as time goes on. But I would like our new board, in case you don't know, if you weren't here in the last few weeks, or we weren't here for our town hall meeting in January, we redo our church business and elected this new board. I'd like everyone to stand so you can see these people. All right. And Todd's back there, and Crystal stayed on the board. So it's a bunch of newness and wonderfulness. And like I said, Crystal is still part of this. You guys can be seated. Thank you. If you have any questions at all and have complaints, go to them. If you have anything wonderful to say, come to me. That's how it works. I'd also like to thank the people that served on the board recently. I know Stevie Weeby, would you mind standing up? Anybody else here? Tony? I don't want to look over at anybody. Crystal was on the board, y'all, but let's give them a hand for the work that they did in the last few years. Thank you guys so much. If I was a baker, I would have baked you a cake, but sorry about your luck. All right, thank you guys. May be seated. Yeah, just very exciting. Some of the new ideas and new things that we're going to be trying, and just open to Spirit, what we are to do for this year. I feel inspired and excited. As I've shared with you before, just like any other person, I go through ups and downs about my personal life and about our spiritual center. And I believe after the first of the year, even though it's just symbolic, it's just a date, just this newness has appeared within me. And I just feel really inspired and rejuvenated about what we can do. And I just see a bigger vision than ever. And what I mean by bigger vision, not necessarily thousands of people. What I mean by a bigger vision is that the people that are here in these seats become open more than ever to that spirit, to that love, to that consciousness, awakening to your divinity, remembering your magnificence. That's what I mean by a bigger vision. I let go, my ego let go. When I first got here 6 years ago, I was like, okay, we're going to get up to 100, then we're going to get up to 200, then we're going to get up to 1,000, then we'll meet in the Superdome, and what I've learned is that Spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, is driving the bus. And whoever needs to be here on any given moment is here. It's all perfect and divine. And I stopped judging that. And what I know is that people that come here or in these seats are ready. They're ready to open up and to just be the best version of themselves that they can be. Because that's all we can do. There's no competition, although we like to make it a competition many times. Really, the only thing for you to do is to listen to Spirit and be the best version of you that you can be. Isn't that cool? I love that idea. So we are continuing with our series, Unity for the Streets. Let's all say that together. Unity for the Streets. I love it. I started this back a few years ago. Doing this at the beginning of the year, just going back to the basics. And on some of this you've heard in some of the other Sundays when we've done this, but it's basically going back to the principles, the basic ideas on which unity is founded. And hopefully it will inspire you and inspire me, because we're all on this journey, to learn some beautiful terms that are and intelligent and thoughtful ways to talk about what unity is. So that when someone asks you, hey, what's that church you go to? What's unity? That you don't go like, well, Or if you get the question, which I've gotten like twice since December, is unity a cult? I mean, what do you have something prepared to say if somebody says, is unity a cult? Troy, you have something you got to say? Yes. Well, yeah, maybe that's the best thing to say, because everything's perceptual. So if someone thinks we're a cult, then we're a cult. I mean, there are no chickens here, so it reminds me of, I've got to tell a story about Annabelle, which she always doesn't like it when I tell stories about her. But whenever I first got here 6 years ago, we started cleaning out, just getting rid of old stuff. And there's a storage room back here behind the bathroom if you've ever looked. And right now it's filled with Power Ministries, our other church that meets here. They have a whole band and their stuff is back there. Well, there used to be, wow, it was crazy what we found back there, like French fries and just like Merle Haggard vinyl CDs, all this country music. We found one of those old trays. Remember the trays they had in elementary school or high school, where they would push in a television on a media tray, that big metal, ugly metal thing? One of those was back there. There was so much stuff back there that it was just crazy. There were talks on cassettes going back, 15 years, which that was pretty cool to go back and listen to what the service was like back then. But I said, in order to create a space for newness, we have to get rid of all that. And that's true for all of our lives. You can't expect something new and wonderful to come into your life until you get rid of all the junk that's already there. You have to create a space. So we had some volunteers, and Annabelle was one of them, and Raphael and Anna were part of it, and a few others. So we were cleaning out the space, and I told the volunteers that were here, I said, now you know what's going to happen. Because we're cleaning out this space, something new and wonderful is going to come to take its place. just something wonderful. And I kid you not, the phone rang shortly after that, and the door was open. We were out here working. And I went in there and answered the phone. You know, Unity of Metairie, yay! I was just here, so I was cheerleading. Unity of Metairie, and this woman came on the phone and she said, "We would love to come and see your church to rent it. We have a church, and we're currently renting a space, and the neighborhood has gone down, and we just can't be there anymore. They're breaking in our cars." There was this whole story, and I said, "Well, sure." And this was right before Mardi Gras. I think it was the week before Mardi Gras, Carnival weekend. So I said, "Well, after Mardi Gras, let's get together." She said, "No, we're coming now. We're coming today. If you're going to be there." I was like, "Okay." And so they showed up, and she told me that they were a Pentecostal church. And I said, "Well, you know what, Unity's not a cult." I said, "I want you to know what this place is about." And she said, "It doesn't matter. We feel love here." She said, "As a matter of fact, our board is on the way right now, and we want to start church this Sunday. The board is coming." And I was like, wow, which means win-win for everybody. That's money for us on our income, and plus we get to share our space. So they came in, and we had a beautiful meeting, and they continue to be lovely. They're still here 6 years later. And just lovely people. And so we were all standing around, and it was just so easy. That's how Spirit does things, just easy. So our income just went up substantially because they started doing Sunday and Wednesday night. So this is the kicker that, and Annabelle may not even remember this, but so when it was done, the minister said, "Let's say a prayer in gratitude." Now, my daddy was a Pentecostal minister, so I know what that kind of prayer was going to be. And I was going to tell them, you probably need to leave the room, the volunteers, because I don't think Annabelle had ever heard anything like this before. But I was brought up in a Pentecostal church, so it's normal for me. So we stood in a circle and held hands, and he just yelled out, "Thank you, Jesus," and had this beautiful thing, and and they were just carrying on, and Annabelle's eyes got this big around. The volunteers were over there digging in some boxes, and they were like, "Oh my goodness." But the good thing about it is, like I've always tell us, like whatever someone's experience of the divine is, it's unique and perfect for them. The church that comes in here, their experience of the divine is just as real as ours because it's their experience of the divine. And so, they left, and we were all standing here looking at each other, and we're like, wow, that just happened? How cool. And of course, they're using the space, so exactly what I said when we moved the stuff out. And then Annabelle said, "Well, I'm not really sure about," I'm going to try to do Annabelle impression. "I'm not really sure about Pentecostals. Maybe we need to put in the contract that no livestock is allowed." Oh my God, that still cracks me up to this day. Do you remember saying that, Annabelle?
Because there was a big article in the paper
The snakes. I mean, she was legitimately concerned. It wasn't a joke. And that is the funniest church thing that I've heard in the longest time. So we digress. Who cares? We're here to have joy and fun. We're back to our unity principles. And as I said before, we've gone over the first three. And of course, Armand and Angelina were here last week. Who was here and enjoyed them? Aren't they great? They're so amazing and wonderful and unique and just special. And I think Angelina looks like a little angel. She's just like this little, I think she weighs like 5 pounds, and for outfits, she puts on a scarf, and that's all she needs. She's just really beautiful. And of course, Armand is just the opposite, this gruff, vocal rock guy. So I've known them probably for about 15 years now, and I'm so happy they could be here and carry on the service. So thank you all they were thrilled when they left, and they sent me a nice note. So thank you, everyone that was involved with that. So we skipped last week because they were there and I was away. So today we're moving on to the fourth principle. So for our homework today, who can tell me the first principle? What's the first principle of unity? All I kind of heard were bees. It sounded like... Yeah, but I heard the jest. There's one power, one infinite presence, God the good. So just quick review. There's not an evil, there's not a bad, there's nothing warring against you. There's only one power, and it's how you use it. But it is God the good. That's the ultimate reality that you cannot escape. that you will, I mean, you cannot get rid of this goodness within you because it came intact with you when you were born. So what's the second one? So if there's one power, what's the second principle? Absolutely. Beautiful. She's learned her, Kathy has gone over her principles. Oh, she's got a cheat sheet. Oh my goodness. So, and by the way, will you hold that up, Kathy? So don't forget, we have our 5 principle little card that's the size of a credit card that you can get that's got the 5 principles. They're just $1 in the bookstore if you don't have one. It's a good thing to have just to carry around with you, so pick one of those up. So we are inherently good because we are part of this one power. And this is, I'll always like to mention, this is the hardest one for us to accept because we see violence and we see terrorists and we don't always understand that. But what we know, even if we don't understand it and it can confuse us, we know that everyone at the core of who they are inherently good because they were created in the image and likeness of God. And one of the things I've used before that people have told me is helpful is if there was a volume knob on a stereo, that a terrorist would be God turned all the way down. Not turned off, but all the way down. And Jesus or Buddha would be God turned all the way up. And most of us are in the middle somewhere, you know. But that presence is inherently goodness in everyone. So what's the third? I love that our board member knows this, our new board member. Yes, our third principle says that because we have the presence and power of God within us, that we are co-creators of our world and our reality through our thoughts, our intentions. I stopped saying just through our thoughts and words because, you know, words a lot of times don't have meaning. What really creates and co-creates our world are the deepest desires of our heart that are there and simmer and stay there. Our conditioned mind, the things that we believe about the world, about the nature of God. That's what really creates those intentions, those things we believe over and over again. By the way, you know that a belief is simply a thought that's thought over and over again until it's accepted as truth. And we should be grateful that not all of our beliefs are true, because we'd all be in trouble. We still all, no matter who you are, you harbor some beliefs that don't line up with what God thinks about you. As a matter of fact, many of us know that the word sin is simply an archery term that means you missed the mark. You threw the arrow and you missed the mark. So a sin is not something to be punished. A sin is an error in thought that simply needs to be corrected. So all of us are missing the mark in some way or another, or we'd probably blow up in a puff of smoke. If you actually knew and accepted who you were in your holiness, you would probably be like poof, and there'd be nothing but your clothes and your shoes left, and everybody be like, So we co-create our world. So we've touched on the fourth a little bit, as I mentioned. So the fourth principle simply says, through prayer and meditation, we align our heart, mind with God. Denials and affirmations are tools we use. Now, there's 2 little parts of this, so I'm going to talk a little about each of these. Through prayer and meditation, we align our heart, mind with God. First thing about prayer is that unity doesn't really embody prayer as we have been accustomed to and what I was taught, and that is what I call the Coke machine God, where if you pray hard enough and put enough quarters in, that you get a beverage out. That's the kind of the way, I mean, it's a simple example, but that's the way that I was brought up, believing that if I prayed hard enough and had faith, you know, that I would be healed or whatever needed to happen, or I'd get more money, or I'd have a great relationship. Unity believes in what we call affirmative prayer, which is very different from prayer in the old definition of that. Affirmative prayer is simply accepting what you already have. It's affirming that God has given you everything. It came with you, intact with you when you came here into this experience, and the only job you have to do is accept it and affirm that it's true. It makes it so much easier than praying hard enough to hope you're going to get something. And that's why prayer in that sense never works. It never works. I mean, it does work sometimes, but I think the only reason it works is because they're already in line with accepting that healing or whatever it needs to do. But there's no need to beg for something you already have. I mean, do you realize that that's what we do a lot of the time? We're begging this power of God or whatever for something that's already yours. That's kind of insane in a way. You know, it'd be like if someone brought a I don't know, there's so many vegans, I was going to say a steak, but let's say a tofu burger, and put it out in front, and you said, I want a tofu burger. Oh, please give me a tofu burger. And it's just sitting there. A tofu burger's in front of you. I want a tofu burger so bad. Please bring me. And people would think you were insane, right? Because the tofu burger's there. That's like us. We have everything, but we just refuse to accept it. So prayer for us is affirmative prayer. And we are going to, this year, finally be developing a chaplain program, which really is so needed in our community, but I think we're getting the right people together to do this. And chaplains are just a word that Unity uses. Chaplains are people that are trained to pray with you in affirmative prayer, to know the truth for you while you're temporarily unable to access it yourself. That's what chaplains do, and I think it's a much needed thing in our spiritual community. I can just vision us having a group of chaplains that sit here during the service and hold the space of the service. I envision chaplains where all of you would have their numbers, and if you were in a fix, you could call them up and say, I need help right now. Will you help me know the truth because I'm struggling? And we all hit that point. And by the way, speaking of Unity, I hope that everyone is aware of Unity's prayer line, which has been around for 125 years. It started out literally with telegrams, with Myrtle. Then it went to letters, and now over 2 million people every year of all faiths from all countries call the prayer line. You can call it, and there's a live person there. You don't get a press 1 or press 2 for affirmation of the day. There's a live person there you can talk to. This is a really powerful tool for you to use. There's no cost to it. Unity provides it. Now you can also text and email. You know, you can do all that. I like talking to a person. It's just something about that connection. So make sure you know about that. It's easy to find. Just put in Unity Prayer Line, Google it. It pops up the number and a place to email. So we have a lot of resources around prayer, and I look forward to having chaplains. Doesn't that sound cool? Doesn't that sound good? Just people that are holding the space of the service. In the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is our sister group, they have what are called practitioners that learn, and it's the same thing. Practitioners are just people that have learned how to hold the truth in the same way. And what I love that's so beautiful about in the Centers for Spiritual Living, many times they do have what I told you about, where they'll have someone in each corner of the sanctuary that are just simply holding the energy of the space and just listening to Spirit. And it just really creates a great vibe. So this all goes along with our fourth principle of through prayer and meditation, we aligned our heart mind with God. So that's my little spiel about prayer. Then we come up to meditation, which many of you have heard me talk about this numerous times. And we do have a fairly long meditation during our service as compared to other churches, because I think it's important. I've had numerous people come up to me that said, when you first got here and we had these long meditations, I just sat and squirmed and said, what are we doing? And they said, now though, I love it. I just love having enough time and not rushing through it, and just being able to sit and let go and open my heart and my mind and realize the importance of it. As a matter of fact, we could simply come in here if we were open enough and just have a 30-minute meditation and just leave. You would get as much as me up here yakking, you know, because that wisdom speaks to us in a way that's beyond words, that's beyond books, that's beyond anything. Now, we do have to talk because that's how we communicate, but I do believe we could come in here, and that's why we do our meditation on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. It's a time where you can spend a whole hour just going into that meditation. Now, it's interesting. Yesterday at our meeting, Crystal, who is a teacher, I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Crystal is a teacher, and she was talking about how at their school they have brain breaks. And what I love about this is like metaphysics sneaking into the school with a different name, with a different label. Because if you said, we're going to have meditation in the school, I'm sure there would be many people that would like flip out. Oh no. They have mindfulness. You know, people are accepting of the word mindfulness. They were talking about yesterday, and I think Sue mentioned it too, about mindful parenting. And these things, I'm like, I love this because it's kind of sneaking in under the radar. So Crystal said what they do is at different parts of the day, she says it's time for a brain break, and they just stop and they sit still for a couple of minutes. And I thought, that's meditation. These kids are meditating. They don't even know. I just love it. It's like sneaking in. And this goes right along with Yogananda, who wrote, I was going to say The Diary of a Yoga. What's the real name of it? Autobiography. I couldn't remember it. Yogananda. How many people are familiar with Yogananda? Okay. One of the best movies I've ever seen, best produced metaphysical movie, is called Awake. And it is the full story of Yogananda produced in a beautiful way, just excellently produced with music and editing and acting that's superb. It's on Netflix, I think, right now, and I would love for us to show it at a movie night, which we're going to start doing quarterly now. Pick that back up again after Mardi Gras. Yogananda was very smart about this. He was from India and, of course, grew up with the traditions in India, which are a lot more mindfulness than we have here in the West. You know, even to this day, there's more mindfulness, there's more meditation. They take breaks. It's common for them just to take breaks and all meditate together at work or wherever. And Yogananda there were other people involved, but in my opinion, Yogananda was nearly single-handedly responsible for bringing meditation to the United States. And the way this happened was he was meditating. First of all, let me tell you something about him, and this is in the movie. This like freaks me out. He says that he was so awake and conscious that he remembers being in his mother's womb. He was fully awake. He remembers being in the womb. He remembers being born. And he remembers his total connection to the divine source. Isn't that cool? It's kind of creepy, though. I was like thinking, I don't know if I'd want to remember being in the womb, but it was a beautiful thing for him. And they talk about that in the movie. So he was born just nearly awake, and he continued to awake. And one day he was meditating, and he saw these visions of Hollywood. He saw like movie stars, and he saw visions of New York. He saw people, running through Manhattan and being busy. And, back then they had like horse and carriages and stuff. This was like in the late 1800s. And he got the message, you need to share this with the West. And he was like, oh, no, I am not going to America. Well, of course, he did. And the movie's so comical because he sounds like he was a character. He came, of course, he did come to the West. He started in New York, first off, and he said it was so funny how people reacted to him because here he was, this very tan brand man with a turban on, with this flowing robe that kind of looked like a dress, and he was walking all around, and it was funny. He said, I wasn't upset or disturbed about it. He said he thought it was funny. I mean, most of us would be self-conscious, but he just walked around town, and everyone stared at him. But what he did that was so smart, and he was directed by Spirit to do this, is he did not introduce meditation as a spiritual practice. He introduced meditation as a scientific practice, which allowed people to open up and accept it because they didn't feel like their spiritual beliefs were being infringed on. So he got this message from Spirit, and he started a couple of societies. I don't remember the exact name of them, but they were all about, electricity and how the brain gets zapped and that you can align it with God. And he came directly from a scientific way, and he packed out houses in New York, and eventually he went to Los Angeles, and then eventually built a beautiful compound, and people would come there and learn and teach. But I love to talk about him because he's an example of really listening to Spirit. Like you would have never come up with that on your own. I would have never thought, I don't think, unless I was listening to Spirit, to say, don't tell everybody this is a spiritual practice. Tell them that it's scientific and get them all excited about it. And that's exactly what he did. And he came in under the radar and taught them this really beautiful, powerful meditation. So I kind of see that's what's happening in our schools. It's just kind of another name, which I think is awesome. So watch this movie, very powerful, or just read Autobiography of a Yogi. It's an amazing. Do you know that Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, most of us know if you ever read anything or looked at any news your whole life, he had an iPad with ebooks in it. And the only book he had in his iPad was Yogananda's book, Autobiography of a Yogi. That's the only book that he had. He followed it to the T. He didn't advertise it. because he knew that people would, they already thought he was weird anyway, but, it was something that he just kept to his own. It was his own spiritual path. I just think that's so cool. Many people use this powerful book as the path of their life. But it just goes along with what I'm saying about through prayer and meditation. Now, I've mentioned before, and I want to mention again, some of us aren't meant to literally sit for 30 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour or however long it is. You can meditate in different ways. The purpose of meditation is for your mind to become still and quiet and for you to just feel that connection with the inner wisdom, that part that the second principle says that presence of God is within you. We forget about it, and that's what brings us fear, and that's what makes us doubt. So meditation is the quickest way to get back in there and reconnect with this divine source of wisdom. So it may not be sitting still. It doesn't matter what the method is, it's the result. So you may be a jogger, and that puts you into this space of connection. You may be a gardener, as I've told the story many times about my dad gardening with tomatoes. That was his meditation. You may be as a musician or an artist. I know sometimes when I'm playing music, I move into an altered state in a good way. I just feel this connection. Music is a very powerful way also for us to move into that. So you may be someone that sits down, and instead of being quiet, you put on some beautiful music, and it just takes you there. So meditation, I think we need to get out of our mind just someone sitting in the position and meditating. It can be anything that brings stillness. I love the quote that says, and I don't know who it attributes to, but it says, if you meditate in the morning, meditate for 10 minutes. If you don't think you have time to meditate, meditate for 30. Think about that. I love that. And sometimes that helps me to slow down in the morning. If I'm like, meditate for 10, but if you think you don't have time, meditate for 30. Just to remind yourself about how important it is, because it sets the tone for your day. So whatever your process is, that's between you and Spirit. And it's individual for all of us. I know when I first went to a transcendental meditation class here in New Orleans back in the 90s, I was so excited. I was just learning about what this was, and I went to this group out here in Metairie, and it was like a demonstration where they showed you what it was, and if you liked it, you could sign up for this class and learn how to do it. And I was so excited when I got there, and when I left, I was so disappointed. Because I know me and I know my habits, and my God, they had me doing so many things. They said, first of all, you go out, you pick a fresh flower from somewhere. It has to be outside organically from the garden. You can't go to the store. There was a certain blanket that you had. There was a certain type of incense. There was a candle. There was these dots that you put on yourself. And I thought, I ain't going to do all this stuff in the morning. I know me better than that. This ain't going to happen. That's why I pay 10 times more for a gym than what I could go to Planet Fitness, because I can walk to it. If I have to get in my car and go, I ain't going to go. I do. I pay like a lot for my gym membership because I can walk to it in the French Quarter. And that's the very reason, is because I just know myself. And I knew that I would not keep that practice. So I left so disappointed. Plus the position they got in. It was like, is that natural? Like there's something wrong with you all. Like, I've never seen anyone curl like that before. It was very interesting. And so I left so disappointed. And it took me many years to realize that that is one way to do it, but you don't need all of that stuff. Now, if any of that stuff helps you, like I do like lighting a candle. Sometimes I travel with a little candle or something. So if in a hotel, I can do it, or just something symbolic. But this is supposed to be simple and natural. So do what is natural to you. And so I'm telling you what I wish someone would have told me back then. I left so disappointed. And for years, I didn't even want to meditate until I met a teacher that explained this to me and said, no, this is between you and God how you want to do this. So find it, whatever it is, and do it, because it's important. So the second part of this principle says denials and affirmations are tools that we use. Now, this is a very controversial one that actually part of this was taken out of the principles for a while because people misunderstood what denials and affirmations meant. Okay, I'm gonna start with affirmations because many of us, if you saw The Secret or you initially read Louise Hay or some of these people, you got the idea that if you wrote down something on a sheet of paper and looked at it every day or wrote it 4,000 times, that you would manifest it. Now that is a step that helps you move in that direction, but for most of us, if we wrote, "I am a millionaire tomorrow," and we wrote it and covered all these walls with that till we were covered with it, you're probably not going to wake up tomorrow a millionaire unless your consciousness really went there. So affirmations are only tools that are important for us to take the beliefs and the desires of our heart that are already there and amplify them. And they're not harmful. I mean, affirmations are not harmful, and they're very helpful for people. Sometimes I use affirmations if I just feel stuck. And I may say, like, "I am a divine child of God," or I use not Emily Cady, but who's the other teacher that said, gosh, I'm getting my names all mixed up, but she was a teacher that was around when Myrtle was here, Myrtle Fillmore during her time, and she said, "I know there is good in this, and I demand to see it now." And I say things like that. And so affirmations can be good, but I think sometimes we've misunderstood what affirmations do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Have you ever tried to do affirmations and you ended up just being disappointed and thinking like, "Man, this stuff just doesn't work. This is crazy." I mean, some of us have experienced that, I believe. So affirmations are helpful, but they're only tools in a whole variety of things that include your core beliefs, and there's a lot of things that come together. But affirmations can be helpful and they don't hurt. But we have to learn how to use them if we really want to change in a way that's beneficial to us. So does all this make sense? So if you go and write it down 100 times, do it. It's fine. It's going to shift you a little bit, but probably not going to happen really, because it's the growth of your consciousness. And most of us are on what I call a slow growth. And that's good because we're comfortable with that. And we're able to do our spiritual journey in a way that's comfortable for us. Most of us are not like Eckhart Tolle, who was depressed and psychotic and suicidal and laid down and felt a pressure coming to his chest and went into a vortex and woke up the next day enlightened. That actually sounds scary to me. Most of us are on the everyday, I'm moving along here. So use affirmations in a way that's smart for you. And the other one is denials. So many people also think denials are where you just totally say what I call the pink paint syndrome, where you say, "Oh, I feel really sick. I feel really sick. I've got something wrong with my stomach." Oh, no, you don't. Just deny it. Just deny it, all as though it's not really happening. People have understood denials to mean that, and that's not what it meant at all. Denials are simply realizing at the core of who you are, even if you are in pain, you acknowledge the pain. And you go to the doctor if you need to, and you take the medication that he gives you because we believe in that. We've been taught to believe that that pill will make us better, and so therefore it does. So do that thing. But in the meantime, you can deny that this is not your true nature. Remember how Myrtle healed herself of 3 diseases, including tuberculosis, which was fatal at that time? No matter how she felt, and even if she didn't believe it fully every time she said it, she would say, "I am a holy child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness." That's the true use of denial. It's not denying that something is happening. That's actually kind of crazy. That'd be like if you were on fire and somebody came to put you out and said, "Oh, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter." You'd say, "Put the fire out. I'm burning up." So denials are simply ways that we look at the situation. We don't turn from it and deny it. We actually look at it straight in the face and say, "I may be in pain right now, or I may be in emotional pain, or something horrible may have just happened in my life, but I know that this is not the truth about me." And so I open up to Spirit to know what is really true about me. I'm temporarily feeling this too shall pass, and I know the truth about me is not this. But still you move through that pain and you move through the challenge or experience that you're going through. So does all this make sense? And for many years, as I said earlier, some books even took this out. They said, we don't want people to deny. But that's not what it's about. It's about claiming your truth and claiming who you are by knowing the truth that you are not that. And it is temporary. That's the great thing about this world, is that no matter what you're going through, it is temporary. It will pass, guaranteed. And that's what we call the good and the bad. All of it is temporary, and we should be glad for that. Because the ultimate goal is awakening and knowing our truth. So I love this principle. It has empowered me. I don't know if any of you saw the Facebook post last night, but I decided to post my song In the Silence, which through prayer and meditation, that's how this song came about. When I did my first CD, wow, I can't believe I can even say this, 17 years ago, shriek, wow. I spent a lot of time working on it, and we were done with it, and I was neurotic, and I was controlling and perfectionist, and I nearly drove everybody crazy that was involved with the process, because I wanted it to be good, but I admit I went overboard, drove everybody nuts, and I went to the gym to relax, because I had finished, and I had read Rumi that morning, so beware if you read Rumi in the morning about what might happen. He was a 13th century mystic Sufi poet who wrote these beautiful words about the divine and the beloved. So check it out if you don't know Rumi or Hafiz. And so I had read Rumi that morning, and this is what he said. I love this quote. Enough with such questions. All of your talk is worthless when compared to one whisper of God from the silence. Says it all. All of your talk is worthless when compared to one whisper of God from the silence. So I went in to celebrate being done with my CD. I was sitting in the steam room and relaxing, and all of a sudden it happened. I heard it. That creative urge, any of you that ever do poetry or draw, it's just something happens and starts flowing out. All of a sudden I heard, in the silence there is peace. I was like, oh Lord, this song is coming out. And I thought that I would forget it, so I ran out of the steam room, and I'm grateful to this day that there was a phone in the men's locker room, because I was like totally unaware what was happening. I would have ran completely butt naked out into the lobby of the gym, I'm sure. But there was a phone in the men's area, and I called my phone and sang it to myself so that I remember it. That's how it felt coming in through me, like I wasn't even the author. Have you experienced that before? It doesn't matter if you're an artist or creator, all of us have experienced that divine thing that kind of transcends our thinking mind. And I left the gym and I did forget it. And I'll never forget the day when I got home, or that afternoon when I got home, and I listened to my voicemail and heard it, and tears just came into my eyes. And I thought, wow, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. So then the next thought wasn't as happy as this one. It said, you need to put this on the album. I was like, oh, no, we can't, because it's already getting ready for mastering, and they're doing this, and it's like, no. So anyway, I called up all the people who were glad to be rid of me the week before and said, we're going to add one more song. One of them actually hung up on me. Said, no, we will not. But I'm so glad that I listened to that, because even 17 years later, this song, which I don't claim authorship of, has touched more people than any of the other songs on that project. As a matter of fact, Unity used it a few years ago for their 120th anniversary as a soundtrack to their anniversary. It was on all the PR and all the commercials and stuff they did celebrating that. And I'm so grateful that I just listened. So what I would love to do today is to take this principle. I'm going to sing a short version of this song. So just be there with me, listening to this sound, this rhythm, this vibration from Spirit. Then we will do a time of meditation, a time of prayer, as we know how powerful this fourth principle is, that through meditation and prayer, we connect with our God self. One of the lyrics in this song at the end says, I find God, I find myself. So just take a moment and relax. Becoming still as best you can, letting go of any random thoughts or things that may be in your mind. Allowing your body to relax. Begin to consciously breathe. Becoming centered here and now. As you breathe in deeply, feel your body surrender to this moment. Becoming still and empty. Breathing in the very breath of God, the life of God. As best you can, allow your mind to become still and quiet and empty. Feel your entire being become peaceful and still. Knowing that in this moment you are exactly where you need to be, and there is a powerful force within you that is guiding you always. Knowing that this powerful force we call God, universe, spirit, has your back, is always leading you in the right direction even when it doesn't look that way. Just feel the relief of knowing how much you are loved. How much you are adored. In the stillness, we begin to see ourselves as God sees us. Holy, perfect, complete. Created in the image and likeness of God itself. And in the silence, in the stillness, we find our true essential self that transcends your body, that transcends any circumstance in your life, any condition of your body. It is the only real, eternal thing about you. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is unspoken joy. In the silence, there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence myself. From this place of silence, we say, thank you, God, for reminding us who we are. In the silence, we connect with that vital source of energy that is always there, patiently waiting for us to turn within. As it reminds us, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that all is well. Be still and know that you are my beloved. And from this deep place within, we send our love, we send our peace, we send our joy, we send our power out into the world. I'd like to invite the singers back up to sing with us for a moment and have you guys join in. Very simple song. As we take this within and send it out into the world, sharing this with others. Join in. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the seas. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the seas into the heavens. I send my love into the heavens. It returns to me. And it returns to me. I send my joy. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy
send peace over the seas. I send peace into the heavens, and it returns to
One more time, join us. I send my love. I send
my love over the mountains. I send my love over the seas. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me.
Within us in this moment is a powerful presence. There's one power, one life, God the good. This power and this life is in each and every one of us, and we can use it to create a world that works for us. And through times of prayer, meditation, we connect with this divine presence. And once again, remember who we are. And for knowing this, we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Thank you all for singing along. Wow, that's so beautiful. By the way, we're going to be doing more of that, having little simple things so you all can sing and express yourself. So I made a list of, before we do our offering, very quickly, 11 awesome things to do today at 5:30. We're going to turn this very positive. 11 things that you can do today at 5:30. That includes all of you on Facebook. If you really love us hard, you swear to God, you will cooperate. We've been through your pocketbook. We know where you live. 11 awesome things to do today, Sunday, February 3rd at 5:30 p.m. Work on your tax returns. If you feel inspired, start a paper route. Bake some cookies, even if you've never baked them before. Make a homemade king cake. They have the mix down at Rouse's. Go pick it up. They're actually harder to make than you would think. Work on your Mardi Gras costume. It's still a month away, but it never hurts. I've been working on mine already. See, for all you people watching on Facebook, by the way, thank you so much for joining us. We're slightly crazy here in New Orleans, in Metairie. Learn how to make sushi. Wow, 5:30 today, you yourself could learn how to make sushi. Clean lint from your dryer. If you haven't taken time to do that lately, that is one of the most important things that could happen today at 5:30 is to clean lint from your dryer. Surprise an old friend with a phone call. That could be the most important thing you do today. Surprise an old friend with a phone call. My favorite on the list is either watch on Animal Planet, Puppy Bowl, which I love. It's amazing. Animal Planet plays all day long in a marathon, and all the dogs get adopted. The Puppy Bowl. On the Hallmark Channel, you can watch the Kitten Bowl. And now they even have a cat bowl for special needs cats and older cats that can't get adopted. Wow. Those are great things you could do today at 5:30. There's nothing else going on today that concerns you at all. That's important. You can go to the Fulton Street Festival downtown, close to the convention center. They're having a huge festival out there and a party and all kind of stuff. Or even best, watch the 2010 Super Bowl. Watch the 2010 Super Bowl and see what should have happened this year. So if anyone's interested in this list, I will make it available online if you need a reminder. But these are all awesome things to do today at 5:30. Thank you for this public service announcement.
I'm not sure I can look your way right now. This is that time in our service when you're invited to contribute to our community and join the circle of giving. It's an affirmation that we're generous and prosperous and abundant.
So we bring our offerings forward, and if you would like to give with a credit card bill, we'll meet you out in the Welcome Center where you came in. And realizing how blessed we are as we give this morning. And everyone that's watching us on Facebook, you can just look down one post below what you're seeing streaming today, and there's a one-click way you can easily click and use PayPal or a credit card to give that way. And we appreciate everyone that's watched us today. Thank you, everybody. Let's give them a hand, everybody watching us on TV today. Mila usually watches on TV, but we're glad to have you in person here today. And she told me, she corrected me because I'm always saying she's like, I'm never in my pajamas whenever I'm watching because I always say you're in your pajamas. So whatever you're dressed in or not dressed in, thank you for watching. And we appreciate all that you give as well. And you can easily do that on our Facebook news feed right below our streaming. So we give today with an open heart, realizing how blessed we are. We give because we know that as we give, it comes back to us. Blessed, we get into the flow of giving, knowing that all of our needs are met because God is the source and substance of our supply. As you give this morning, you can also pick up an affirmation to take with you. So let's sing this song together, knowing how blessed we are, knowing how loved we are as we give this morning. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. And if you prefer to stay seated, Sue has the offering bag. Just simply raise your hand and she will meet you where you are if you prefer to stay seated. Realizing that we are so blessed. Sing along. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. And once again, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. And one more time together, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. Yes, we are. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. Oh, it's making my eyes water. Yes, it is. It's going to go viral. So thank you all for being here today. It's been such an awesome, awesome day. Thank you for spending time with your spiritual center this morning. As I said earlier, I'm just excited about all that's happening here. If you have ideas, any ideas for anything about our spiritual center, share it with their new board. They're just on fire with ideas and newness as we continue to make changes. And I just appreciate each and every one of you for being here and being a part of our service today. So we know, what does our second principle say? That one way to say it is that God is in everything. I've got to have my face to put it up here to cut on my DJ. It's not like my face today. I think I got scared of those glasses. We know the second principle, tell me what that is. That God is in everything. God is in each person, right? Does that right? Y'all got the look. Oh, Kathy's going to hold up her thing. Read it out for us, Kathy. Holler it out.
Our essence is of God, therefore we are inherently good. This God essence called Christ was fully expressed in Jesus.
Hallelujah. There's been a healing by the poker machines. And so we stand up today singing our God in Everything song. And you can't hear it yet because I got to plug it up. Everybody go ahead and stand. We know that God is in everything, everywhere present, in all living things. All right, there we go. May this be your affirmation for the second. This is a one way to talk about the second principle. I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. Now we feel. I feel joy, I feel peace. I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. Now the third way has how we use that third principle. It's up to you to choose what you co-create. Let's choose. I choose joy, I choose peace. I choose goodness surrounding me. I choose love in every breath I breathe. I choose God in everything. I choose happiness, I choose freedom. I choose the beauty that lives in me. I choose perfection in what life brings. I choose God in everything. I know joy, I know peace. I know goodness surrounding me. I know love's in every breath I breathe. I know God's in everything. I know happiness, I know freedom. I know the beauty that lives in me. I know perfections in what life brings. I know God's in everything. So I know God's in everything. Namaste, 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 yeah, namaste, namaste. The presence of God within me honors and adores the presence of life and God within you. So we leave today saying our prayer of protection. Excuse me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Remember what to do at 5:30. We forgot the announcements. They were all basic announcements. Wednesday night, come for the Faith Lift. We're going to where? Phoenicia on Veterans for Lunch Bunch. That's really it for today. We thank you hard. We swear to God. Watch the Kitten Bowl at 5:30 or the Puppy Bowl.
Down in New Orleans, on the street where the cats saw me, is a Mardi Gras mambo with the beat. Shout a cheer for the Zulu King and truck on down.